William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We are here at the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board meeting, the agency known as DART to Dallas, Texas residents. As a service to the Dallas community, we plan to cover DART board meetings from gavel to gavel. Public comments are required to keep DART board aware of issues close to the ridership that they may not get through other resources.
It is now 6:30, and I'm calling the Board of Directors meeting, the DART Board of Directors meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from March 13th, 2018. Are there any edits or changes to those minutes? And the even bigger question, do we have a quorum? Is everyone here? All right, we have a quorum. Thank you. All right, any changes or edits? If not, can I have a motion to approve, please? Second. All in favor, press your button. All votes are in. It passed unanimously. Thank you very much. The second item on the agenda is our CAC report, and we have the CAC Chairman Kashek here to give us the report. Good evening.
Good evening. During our February meeting, we were updated on progress of the high-speed rail by Travis Kelly, who's the Vice President of External Affairs at Texas Central. Texas Central is a private Texas-based company. Interesting facts that we learned are that Texas Central is backed by private investors and receives no public funds. High-speed rail will provide travel between Houston and Dallas-Fort Worth in less than 90 minutes. Train stations, ticket booking, getting on and off rail cars, and restrooms are all accessible without need of assistance or having to get out of one's mobility device. In addition, there will be accommodations for persons with hearing or vision impairments, including allowing service animals on board. High-speed rail will help the Texas economy by creating thousands of jobs and development opportunity around stations and within cities, fulfilling the need for speed transportation and growing population. The railroad will be mostly elevated and follow existing right-of-way whenever possible. The build-out will require 10 million cubic yards of concrete and 1,100 miles of steel rail. There will be 3 stations plus train maintenance facilities. The project will be grade separated, crossing over or under all public roads with no intersections involving vehicles or people. There will be no noise impacted station, and the route will run through 10 Texas counties. The train will be a Japanese Shinkansen that has a maximum speed of 186 miles per hour with an acceleration of 170 miles per hour in 3 minutes. I'm not going to speak to the answers of Mr. Kelly's questions by CAC members or those of the public meeting tonight, and I know that we need to get to that. But I would suggest that you read it in detail because that was really the most interesting information. Under new business, the CAC member mentioned that the East Dallas Chamber of Commerce expressed interest in the CAC having a discussion on procurement issues, possibly with a guest speaker. CAC members had no comments about the matter. Chair Scheck suggested that the committee can discuss that at our April meeting whether or not the committee wants to replace a topic on our year's list of possible speakers. Old business, it is decided to proceed with obtaining a speaker to give an update on fare structure changes at our April meeting. If a speaker is not available, a speaker on one of the other subjects can be chosen. The meeting was adjourned at 7:40 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scheck. The next item, on the agenda will be our public comments. I'm going to read the script for the public comments. Many of you have heard this before. General public comments will be allowed at the beginning of each DART board meeting for a total of 30 minutes. And again, at the end of the meeting, with the 30-minute period does not accommodate all persons who have signed up to speak. If you wish to speak at the end of the meeting, please fill out a public speaker card and turn it into board support staff prior to the start of the meeting. Individuals who have addressed the board in the past 30 days will be recognized to speak during the public comment period at the end of the meeting. During the public comment period, board members may not interact with the speakers or other board members by asking questions or offering their own comments. Members of the public are reminded that their behavior during dark board meetings is governed by the dark board code of conduct for citizens, news media, and visitors. Personal attacks, impertinent or slanderous remarks, and boisterous conduct will not be allowed. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The green light on the podium will indicate when you can begin speaking. The yellow light indicates that you have 1 minute remaining, and the red light indicates your time has expired. Our first meeting is Valerie Strafford, followed by Albert Gerlach. Thank you. Is Valerie L. Strafford here? Oh, thank you. I'm sorry.
Good evening. I am Valerie L. Stratford, and I am here on behalf of the violence that are taking place on the train. I have witnessed a handicap in a wheelchair who was literally slapped back and forth until blood came out of his nose. I literally had to take him off the train because they were threatening to strip his clothes off and take money and his cigarettes. I witnessed another female along with her mother where there were younger males standing in the Hopkins breezeway. Literally was trying to snatch her purse, but the phone dropped me. They grabbed the phone and ran out the train. I have literally seen people actually just go up while somebody sleep. I realized no one should sleep on the train, but no one realized the extent of tiredness, whether they're taking their bags, going in their pockets. I witnessed a man laying on the concrete, face down with no shoes on last night, smoking marijuana on the train, drinking, leaving their bottles of it. I'm not one to deal well with seeing violence on a train. I have my moments of being angry, but for one to put their hands on someone who is not bothering them, it's not acceptable. I have a lot of wisdom when it comes to caring about people's, period. And I just want y'all to know that something has to be done about this, because our seniors and our handicaps are being taken advantage of on this train.
Thank you, Ms. Stratford. Would you please speak with Officer Lindsay? I'm sorry, he's raising his hand back there. Would you mind talking with him?
Yes.
Maybe he can help you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming down. Following Mr. Durla is Johnny Haggerty.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Gary Thomas, and the rest of the board. I'm here to speak to you on a few issues regarding the vacation issues within the maintenance and transportation department and a few healthcare issues. Now, in the maintenance and transportation department, as far as vacation, there are some employees that cannot get 5 consecutive days off after 1 year. This is becoming a problem. Employees have to take other measures because they have their family needs to meet. And if management wants to know why absenteeism is on the rise, when all management has to do is broaden the percentage of just a little bit to allow employees after 1 year, 1 week off of 5 consecutive days. Our workforce, just to let you know, our workforce has doubled over the years. These percentages that they're working off of now are back in the 90s, early 2000s. Here it's now 2018. I remember when Northwest Division used to be, only had 250 to 300 operators. Northwest Division is currently operating a workforce staff of approximately 400. South Oak Cliff has doubled. On the rail side, you only allow a certain amount of people off on vacation and rail operations. 2 people. That ain't enough. So they need to broaden the percentages to allow more people off on vacations due to the workforce has doubled over the years. Your rail, when it started committee, didn't have that many employees. Now you got approximately 200 operators over there, not counting operators, but the maintenance staff and the supervision staff that cannot get 5 consecutive days off after 1 year. Now, as far as the healthcare, I'm sorry, I have to say it like this, but that healthcare that Art came up with this year is a joke. It's a God's honest joke. Employees are having to change doctors if they leave the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I have a doctor myself, an eye doctor. I can't go to that doctor anymore this year because my doctor's in South Lake. I left currently Dallas County, and now I have to change doctors because they don't take health care. Employees are forced to pay higher than usual deductibles. They're forced to use their flexible spending account and their HRAs exhausted to meet these deductibles. And then when you meet your deductible, you gotta pay a percentage to your out-of-pocket. Lastly, there has been no detail by management. I'm about to wrap it up. There has been no detailed education informing the employees on how this healthcare actually works. Thank you for your
Thank you, Mr. Turlock. The next speaker is Johnny Haggerty, followed by Nathan Nui.
Madam Chairman, I choose at this time to donate my time to the President, Mr. Day, Mr. Kennedy Day.
Okay, Mr. Day, are you going to take Mr. Haggerty's time slot? Of course, you still only get 3 minutes, right? Okay.
I do my very best. Good evening. A couple weeks ago, I spoke to the board regarding the issue of overtime pay for salary employees. And I want to respectfully ask you all to look at it and give us a response. Secondly, I'd like to speak on the item 5 on the 504 plan. I would ask that you reconsider it. Please hold your vote. The employees have had an opportunity to come and speak to you about the 504. The 504 plan is a plan where employees are injured on the job. They have to go and see a carry-out doctor. These are medical doctors. They go see these medical doctors. They're treated for therapy 4, 5, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Then it's determined they need to go see a specialist. By the time they get to see a specialist, now they off work. They go through a lot of red tape with the third-party administrator, denying treatment, surgeries. Then there's now being harassed about coming back to work. We got serious problems with this 504 medical plan. And I would ask, I'm not sure what your decision is, that you will hold off on making your decision and allow your employees to come and speak. You can hear from the employees and get the other side of it. It's a shame when we're forced to come back to work before we have an opportunity to get treatment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Head. Next speaker is Nathan N-O-U-Y or N-O-B-Y. I'm sorry. Okay. Followed by Annette Levine.
My name's Nathan N-O-B-Y. I don't know why there's E on there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not my name right now. I'm a member of the North Texas Transit Riders. We've been here for the past 6 to 7 months. Going out against the fare hike. I just wanted to say real quick, I'd love to see the sort of public turnout in regards to the cotton development. I just wish there was a sort of public engagement involving the fare hike because it is a very impactful issue that will affect the lives of thousands of people living here in DFW, especially those who might not have the means of being able to afford a ticket if it goes up by $1.52. I believe that there are other ways that DART can address this issue. The reason DART would vote for a fair hike would obviously come from a financial issue. There are other means of addressing that issue, one of which would be to increase ridership across the board for buses, trains, the TRE. Between 2016 and 2017, only 4 public transit services for major metro areas saw an increase in ridership. Those cities were Phoenix, Seattle, New Orleans, and Houston. Houston recently restructured its bus service in order to increase ridership, and as a result, it saw its income from fares obviously increase. There's a correlation there. So I believe that DART should reconsider its approach to this obviously financial issue, because this is going to adversely and negatively affect thousands of people in DFW, especially those that rely on public transit, especially those who don't even have access to public transit right now in areas such as South Dallas. If something needs to be done, I believe people of the board should convene and reconsider their options, starting with reconsidering the recent vote for the fare hike. I ask the board to scrap this fare hike, either to hold another vote and seriously reconsider its options, because there is always an alternative. And we firmly believe in the North Texas Transit Riders, as well as the over 6,000 residents that we've gotten to sign our petition, that there is a better solution, there's a better alternative.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Levine, followed by Ada Yeager.
Good evening. My name is Annette Kelly Levine. I am a bus dispatch supervisor too. And I came to talk about the insurance. I pay $200 a month for me. I met my deductible and I'm still paying. The insurance is crap. The doctors don't know anything about health scope. That's my first thing. The second thing is supervisor's overtime. I am a supervisor that is get overlooked for overtime. I came to the conclusion that it's just favoritism. That's what I think, it's just favoritism. I've been overlooked. We had a MAC hearing, we won the MAC hearing, but we are not, what the arbitrator, what he said is not happening. So I'm here to say to the board, please help the supervisors. Please help the supervisors. And please help us with the insurance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Levine. Is Ada Yeager here? Followed by William Sanders, Jr.
Hi, thanks for giving me the time to speak. I wanted to ask somewhat about how it is that the decisions and policies are being made. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of transparency. Specifically, I didn't know what the reasoning was around the fare hike, which is obviously something that me and the transit riders are concerned with. But it seems like the policies aren't made with concern to employees either, judging from the comments about healthcare and insurance that I'm hearing. So I'm wondering who is being considered when these decisions are made and how. I'm confused because there doesn't seem to be an analysis of how a fare hike would affect ridership, meaning we don't even know if that would increase the revenue to DART. So it feels very strange that these decisions are being made without any input from employees or riders, and I would like to know what the process is behind these decisions. As well as to just suggest that consideration towards the welfare of riders and our employees should be a priority within the decision-making staff, whoever they might be or however they are related to the board here. So I'm here to talk about a plan, I guess, to maybe not necessarily a fair hike, but to do something, I guess, to improve the situation for riders and employees alike. I'm hoping that we can continue to have this conversation going forward. Unfortunately, I'll probably be seeing this quite a bit for some of you at least. But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Yeager. Next speaker, William Sanders Jr., followed by, Tammy Whitten.
Greetings to the board and all assembled. Madam Chair, I realize that we're not here for Bible study. However, I have testimony before I begin my statement. I have been equipped by God because I asked Him to prepare me a heart and fix my mind whereby I could come and speak to the board and those who make rules, regulations, and enforce such that I may be able to speak to them, and He did that. And I failed to report to the board to do that, and I was whipped in some terrible way. We remember the story of Jonah in the Bible. God told Jonah what to do, and Jonah didn't do it, and God whipped him. So I asked God to do something for me, and I didn't do it, and He whipped me something terrible. Now, that being said, I see the woods, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. For I have miles to travel before I sleep. I don't know who wrote that, but I added a line to it because I hear my people as they weep. Now I'm here to speak in behalf of the employees. Ladies and gentlemen, there's some unfair treatment being done to the employees of the Dallas Area Rapid Transit System. I tell you what, I am a lover of DART. Let's go back a little further. I am a lover of Dallas Transit System. I am a lover of the ATU International. I am a lover of Local 1338. Now, that being said, I hear the employees cry about these rules and regulations. They are totally unfair. And if I should tear up, it's not tears of weakness, it's strength under control. I'll have you know that. And I am in support of these rules and regulations to be looked into by the board, because apparently those that are in control of such are keeping it away from the executive director or whomever is next to him who may be able to hear those. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time that we treat our employees with respect and dignity. I hear them crying daily, for I'm always around. Ladies and gentlemen, please, please, please. That's what. Now I challenge you to come to scriptures. Matthew, do I have to know? Thank you. I'll tell you what, I'll be back.
Tammy Wilson here? Okay, great. Followed by Brian Blank.
I'm addressing the board, two things, workman's comp. Mr. Day, as he brought to you about workman's comp. I'm a workman's comp survivor. And being single, very tough.
It's not so much as the doctor. What is happening is ESIS, and you have adjusters being doctors. And adjusters, when the doctor recommends or say you need something, they refuse to pay. That's where the problem is there. The 504, it could work if it would work if the adjuster would stop trying to be doctors, and half of them is not even certified to be adjusters. They don't even have the certification. They were just trained to be adjusters. That's one problem. Second problem is the insurance. And I'm tearing up because my doctors, I was going to UT, and my doctor is a team because I got injured at Dart back in '09. So for me, being a single mother and a single grandmother, when they told me I couldn't go to UT is the one that got me walking after I couldn't walk at the time. After the ambulance had to come to Dart and come get me because of my injury, because I never did get any good service with workman's comp. UT, now I have to change my whole doctor because they would not work with health scope. They told me they would not take Dart health scope. They take health scope, but not Dart. So there's some kind of rivalry going on between TSR and health scope, but Dart employees were caught in the middle of it. And across the board, doctors are saying we are not accepting health scope. Dart employees health scope, they have blackballed us. Doctors have blackballed us. They don't want to accept us. And for me being single, I don't have no doctor right now. Because UT literally called me on the phone and said, Ms. Walton, you can't come back here anymore. The insurance sucks.
Thank you. Brian Blanks, followed by Ms. Wilmore.
I almost want to give my time to Bill, he was so hot. But my name is Brian Blanks, and I'm a bus operator. And many people have touched on insurance, and one of the problems that I feel that is that on the reimbursement plan, I don't think the doctors are getting paid fast enough, because some employees, they go to the doctor, they see the doctor, they go back, and then the third time they say, no, we're not doing this no more. So I don't know whether it's a communication problem or somebody's not getting paid in a timely manner, or maybe that might be the issue that y'all need to look into. And everybody has pretty much touched on the insurance. And I think that's one of the major problems. I would have a problem at first, then I had to do a lot of footwork, and I pretty much got to settle in, but another issue I want to talk about is I also sit on the Our Safety Committee for the ATU, and I don't know who thought it was a good, I don't know whether y'all have anything to do with this, but who thought it was a good idea to drop 1,000 bicycles downtown? That is the biggest mess I've seen in my 27 years here, Doctor. You can't even drive on the curb lane. It's a safety, bikes are everywhere. I had a guy on my bus just yesterday. He was so intoxicated, he couldn't even lift the bike up on the ramp. But it's the biggest mess ever. I believe today at Ledbetter Station, Key Station, the doors open at Key Station. 2 bicycles come up on there like they in the rodeo. Boom, zooming up on there. They never even got off the bikes. There was already a bike on the bike, on the train. I had to walk to the next car just to get off the train. Those, like I said, if you guys ain't got nothing to do with it, get with the city and find out why. But I don't know who thought that was a good idea. to put some bikes out there. Those bikes are all over the place. I live in the Lancaster. They're out there, the soda, everywhere. See the hill. The bikes are mixed. Please get with the city. And it doesn't look good for your city at all. I travel this country all the time. And when you got bikes laid all out on the street, that's a mess. And it's also a safety hazard. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Blanks. The last speaker for the public comment is Ms. Wilmore. Tahaka Wilmore. Hi. Okay.
Okay, my name is Tahaka Wilmore.
Yes, I know I'm a little chunky. I work with art. Okay, they send me to go get physicals, I'm gonna go get physicals. Every time one of us chunky ones or fluffy ones want to get a physical, you got to say, come in the room and say, oh, you fat. You got to go take a sleep study. Just because I'm big, I'm fluffy, I'm fat, doesn't mean that I have sleep apnea. I went and took the test because they forced me to. They didn't pay for the cheaper test, they made me pay for the most expensive test. Okay, now I exhausted all my little budget. Now that I don't have it, you come and you tell me, oh, I can't give you a card for just 2 years. I gotta give you a card for 1 year. No, I don't think so. I don't have high blood pressure, I don't have diabetes, I don't have nothing, I'm very healthy. I don't have sleep apnea, and they still wouldn't give me a 1 year. I had to literally tell them, I'm not picking it up. Y'all better give me a 2 year. Had to call back, and the third time I called back, they sent me to a doctor. He gave me a 2 year. I think this is discrimination. We shouldn't have to go through this. Our job is already difficult and it's hard every day. But to go through this is not good. I think God owes us back our money that we pay on this big family and plus my hair. They have to scrub my hair. Scrub it. And they put this gunk up in it. And I just got it done. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. And just because I'm big and you walk in the room and you tell me I'm fat, that's not right. That's discrimination. Point blank. It's something needs to be done. Nobody want to hear or give me the answer on why it's happening or when I'm going to stop it. It's not fair. We got enough on our plate to deal with. And this we shouldn't have to deal with. Point blank.
Thank you, Ms. Wilmore. Appreciate it. That is the end of the public comment period at the beginning of the meeting. Our next item is our public hearing. So I'm going to officially read the script for our public hearing. Good evening, and thank you for coming tonight to the public hearing. My name is Sue Bowman, and I will be the hearing official this evening. For your information, DART has not received a request for hearing impaired services at this public hearing. Therefore, we have not provided a sign language interpreter. We do, however, have a Spanish interpreter available. Is there anyone present that requires Spanish translation? Is the interpreter here to announce that in Spanish? Oh, I'm sorry, Carlos. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Carlos Huertas. Si alguien necesita ayuda a traducir en español sobre el Cottonmouth, el tópico del Cottonmouth o la presentación del señor Salim, por favor levanten la mano y lo puedo ayudar. Ok, gracias.
All right, if not, we will move on to the public hearing. It will be divided into two parts. The first part will consist of a brief overview on the project by DART technical staff, and the public hearing will follow, pardon me, the presentation. During the public hearing, we must follow some guidelines. Pre-registered speakers will make their comments first, followed by sign-in speakers in the order that we receive their requests. Those who do not wish to speak may submit written comments. All comments will be included in the official public record. A DART board resolution has established a limit of 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers must address the topic of the hearing. Other subjects will not be allowed at the hearing, and if you wish to speak on other topics, you can do so at the end of the meeting. Excuse me. Questions, interchange, and discussion are not generally allowed in a hearing. However, if a board member wishes to raise a question, he or she may do so. Technical staff will be available after the public hearing for questions. Now, Steve Salin, the Vice President of DART Capital Planning, will make the presentation.
Thank you. Good evening. For the record, my name is Steve Salin, Vice President of Capital Planning, Dallas Area Rapid Transit. Tonight I'll be presenting the technical information related to the major service plan change for the Cottonmouth Regional Rail Corridor project, which I will refer to as the project during the presentation. Public hearing is required under Section 452(3) of DART's enabling legislation. Property owners who are required to complete the project have been notified, and the governing body of each municipality and commissioners court of each county in which the project is located have been notified. So with that, I'll move on to the presentation. Tonight's presentation follows these four components of the service plan. We're dealing with the alignment, station locations, grade separations, and facility locations. A future public meeting, public hearing will be held regarding the environmental impacts associated with this project. That will probably be in the month of May going forward. In addition to that, DIRT's service plan includes specific requirements regarding the type of service plan changes that must be identified. In this particular document, we have 4 alignment deviations that have been briefed on previously. In addition to that, there are 6 new stations that are being added. That's in addition to the stations that are already in the service plan. There are 8 new grade separations and 1 modification of the existing TRE maintenance facility. Spend a few minutes talking about the alignment. This is the alignment as it runs from DFW Airport Terminal B out to the Shiloh Road Station in Plano, Texas. You'll note that there are 4 what we call alignment deviations. The first at the airport. That's where the alignment branches off of the existing Cotton Belt corridor. Second deviation is the Cypress Waters alignment deviation, followed by the downtown Carrollton reconfiguration, and then the city line alignment, which deviates off the existing corridor to pitch the city line Bush Station. We'll spend a few minutes talking about each one of these in detail. This is the DFW connection. This needs to be added to the service plan because it is new alignment fixed guideway. The alignment that you see in orange is the current Cotton Belt configuration. What's being shown in green is the new addition of the alignment to be able to get access to Terminal B at DFW Airport. This project portion is being done in conjunction with the Corporate Transportation Authority, now known as Trinity Metro. This section adds 2 new stations. We'll talk a little bit about stations in the new future relative to this presentation. This is the second of the alignment deviation, Cypress Waters alignment. You'll note that the existing freight tracks are to the north, the passenger tracks come down to the south and cross South Beltline Road and Sanders Loop Road with a new station at Cypress Waters. And the 2 things to note about this particular deviation is that the freight will continue to operate on the freight tracks to the north. Only passenger rail will move to the new alignment through Cypress Waters. This is the downtown Carrollton reconfiguration. This has a couple of components in order to facilitate the Cotton Belt through this particular area. There is an alignment adjustment. That alignment adjustment in downtown Carrollton provides the opportunity to relocate the Mercer Yard out of downtown Carrollton, thereby opening up the opportunities for transit-oriented development in this location. In addition to that, we have provided for a 3rd platform to be located to accommodate future urban Frisco corridor should it be developed. In addition to that, we're making improvements at what we call the Medill subgrade separation that allows for the Cotton Belt rail to go up and over the Burlington Northern Santa Fe so that we don't interfere with their operations and it does not go through the middle of the station. This is the city line alignment. Much like the Cypress Waters alignment, freight will continue to operate on the existing corridor. The deviation will only be for the passenger rail that will hit City Line Bush Station and then as it comes back into Plano at 12th Street. This is the service plan amendment. So from what you see in yellow, those are the new fixed guideway elements that you are adding. The dark line between downtown Carrollton and the red line currently exists in the service plan along with those stations that are shown. We'll talk again, as I said, in a few minutes regarding all of the stations. So the dark line in the center is what's already in the service plan. Your amendment that you will take action on in June is to add portions that are shown highlighted in yet. Regarding the stations, I'm going to run through all of the stations that are associated with the project. I'll start at DFW Terminal and go all the way across. As a part of your service plan amendment, although we are not building the DFW station, it is one that needs to be added to the service plan because we will be providing service to that location. So this is DFW Terminal Station. What you see in the image to my left, the yellow box is the new platform location that is currently under construction by DFW Airport. That will provide platform service for both the Tex Rail project as well as the Cottonville project when it comes in adjacent to Terminal B. The station to the right of International is where the light rail comes in. Approximately 400 feet separation between the sidewalk has been provided. This is the DFW North Station. Immediately after leaving the DFW Terminal Station, there's a station up where it reconnects, and there are two parts to it. The DFW North Station is currently under construction by Tex Rail today, but we are building the other half of the platform to provide service for our Cottonville project. In addition to that, at the far north end, it's a second platform that provides for through train movements. So those trains that do not in the future go all the way into the airport and going across service have a transfer point on the Cottonville corridor. Next one is Cypress Water Station. This is located in the city limits of Dallas. It is just immediately south of the city of Bell, which is just to the north side of this image on Belmont Road. This is the downtown Carrollton station. This is probably one of the more complex station locations relative to the two platforms for the Cottonville project, but it also has an interface with the Green Line platform that currently exists today, and we are working with the Benton County Transportation Authority to anticipate future service from Benton County down to this location in conjunction with the city of Carrollton. In addition to that, it provides for continued freight operations along the Middle South, as I mentioned previously. This is the Addison Station. This is to some extent, an existing station. It has the Addison Transit Center, so the piece that is being added is the platform itself immediately north of the transit center. This is the Knoll Trail Station. This is inside the city limits of Dallas. There is no parking at this particular location. This is the Preston Road Station. No parking is identified for this location. This is also one that we've received lots of cars and comments on that is not identified as a station that should be carried forward. This is the Coit Road Station. This is right on the edge of the city of Dallas and Coit Road. The facility is about 1 mile away from the UTD Dallas Station, which is just to the east. Preston Road Station is out to the west, about 2.5 miles. If that particular station is eliminated, it'd be another mile to the Knoll Trail, so about 3.5 miles. This is the UTD Dallas Station. This is being done in conjunction with the city of Richardson as well as the university. The station is immediately incorporated into the University of Texas Dallas complex, as well as the expansion plan for the particular facility. This is the City Line Bush Station. This is another transfer opportunity between the Red Line on the light rail corridor going from Richardson towards Plano. This is also the location where the Cottonville comes across US 75. We'll talk about that great separation in a minute to provide for cross-platform transfer at this location. This is the 12th Street Station. This has two parts to it. One is the Cottonville piece, which is illustrated there inside the rectangles of the platform. In addition to that, we have allowed for a modification of an infill light rail station along the Red Line that will provide for facilitated transfer between Red Line and the Cottonville project in Plano. This is the end of the line station, Shiloh Road at the far end. It's immediately south of the Encore property on Shiloh Road, and it's about 2 miles back to this 12th Street station location. This is a terminal station, so this is where trains would dwell and be turned to go back the other direction. There's also a tail track to be able to provide for storage during layover and clean out as necessary. We'll spend a few minutes talking about grade separations. These are the grade separations that are new to the project. Those that you see up on the top, there are 10 of them. The combination of South Beltline Loop and Sanders Loop Road are one structure, but it's 2 roads that are being covered by that one structure. Same thing with US 75 and Red Moon Way. That's one structure covering 2 streets. In addition to that, we have the one railroad crossing, which I've mentioned in downtown Carrollton. These are the locations of those facilities. There are 2 future roads on DFW property that will be rode over the track. Then we have South Beltline Road and Sanders Loop, which are identified there just by Northway. The location for the Dill sub is downtown Carrollton. Then we have 2 locations, Midway Road in Addison and Point Road, where the road is over, but that's also a split where the rail goes down about 7 feet and the road goes up 10 feet, if I have my numbers correct in the right order. The last of the grade separations are when we cross 75, so we're over at Custer Parkway, US 75 Red Moon Way, that's one large structure, and then at Plano Parkway, and then we are at grade for the balance of the board. Regarding the maintenance facility, there are two locations that were given principal consideration, one at Luna Road. That one is no longer under consideration based on input from the city of Carrollton and the public. We have explored the opportunity for using the existing TRE facility in Irving. It can be accommodated with some minor modifications, so rather than construction of a brand new facility, we're able to accommodate the fleet that we anticipate for this project, as well as some additional growth at this particular location. The Mercer Yard relocation, as I mentioned, from downtown Carrollton goes about 2 miles east. There is property that has already been purchased by this agency that can accommodate that rail operation. Mercer Yard, as mentioned at the planning committee today, is a switching operation for the DGNO Railroad, and they are going to break down their trains, reconfigure, and make delivery services out of this location. Service plans, this is the actual summary to all of the things that I just kind of ran through. In terms of the alignment, this is what's in your existing service plan. It is the Plano, Addison, Carrollton line from Beltline Road, Carrollton to Plano, passing through Addison to Dallas. The line terminates near 10th Street, so that's that piece that was shown in black on the earlier map. 6 previously approved stations, downtown Carrollton, Wolf Trail, Preston Road, Hoyt, T. Dallas, 12th Street, and we are modifying the existing facility. So the new things that are being added are the 4 alignment deviations as I described, 6 new stations at DFW Airport, the Cypress Water Station, Addison Station, City Line Bush, and Shiloh. There are 11 new grade separations, so that's the BNSF, which is the 1 rail, and then the 10 grade separation structures and the modification facility. That concludes my presentation. Glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Swin. Tonight's hearing is being recorded by a court reporter, so all comments received are a matter of public record. It is now 7:19 p.m. on Tuesday, March 27, 2018. According to the requirements set forth in DART's enabling legislation, this public hearing on the Cotton Belt Regional Rail Corridor Service Plan Amendment is now open to receive comment. We will begin to receive comments now. Please be reminded there's a 3-minute limit in which to make your comments, and please make the comments on the subject of the Cotton Belt Service Plan Amendment. We have several pre-registered speakers. I'm going to be taking them in that order, and then we will get to the people who registered here at the building tonight. Excuse me. Our first speaker tonight is Mayor Paul Volker from the city of Richardson. Welcome, Mayor.
Madam Chairman, board members, staff, I'm happy to once again have this opportunity to be here to represent the city of Richardson as its mayor and speak about our excitement and support for the progress of the Cotton Belt project. I would like to begin by publicly saying that I appreciate this board and the position each of you are in as its members. You have been selected by your respective communities to be here to lead the regional mass transit efforts of DART and to balance its needs as a regional system with the needs of the cities you represent. I know that representing different agendas and different points of view do not always lead to unanimous decisions, and it is not always an easy process. And I am thankful for your past leadership in showing your ability to work together to compromise and find middle ground to achieve this project like the Cotton Belt. That will go to greatly enhance the regional mobility service. The success of the Cotton Belt and our region requires us to work together in order to move forward together. And the success of the Metroplex is proof positive of what can be accomplished when we work together. And for that, I'm very thankful. Regarding the Cotton Belt Rail Project, the Richardson City Council is happy to support the service plan amendments for southern rail alignment chosen by this body to go directly to the City Line Bush Station. We are also on record with our support that the station architectural design at City Line Bush be complementary to the current station design already at the development for the Red Line. We also stand ready to support you in any way possible for the trail and rail design to be included in this project. This will serve as an expansion of the regional hike and bike system, and we are anxious to do our part to help with it in coming to fruition. As the line heads west towards UTD, we are also supportive of the grade separations DART has proposed in our community. We are comforted with DART's reputation for implementing noise mitigation strategies on other parts of its system, and we are confident that you will continue to show the same level of care and service with the Cotton Belt line as it runs through our community. Finally, I would like to say that this is an exciting time for Richardson, and you have your full support to bring this project forward. We will do everything within our capabilities to help you make this a successful project as it can be in our community. And I know our future generations are going to look at this line as one of the best resources available to Richardson. I thank you for being part of that history.
Thank you, Mayor Volker. The next speaker is Sandy Grayson, Dallas City Council member.
Good evening. I'm Sandy Grayson, Dallas City Council member representing District 12 in far north Dallas. I'm here tonight to speak about the service plan amendments that will be coming before you for a vote in June. In particular, I want to address two elements of your plan, grade separations and station locations. DART has determined that a grade separation is warranted at Coit Road but not at Hillcrest Road, where we also want one. Dallas has engaged a consultant to check the traffic numbers on Hillcrest to see if a grade separation is indeed warranted there as a mitigation item. Also, when using the term at grade, as in either the road or the rail line would be at grade, we mean at current grade, not 10 feet up in the air, as I've seen on some of your design panels. At grade means at grade, not 10 feet up in the air, especially next to residential homes. Your DEIS currently includes a station at Coit. Dallas does not want a station there. In all the DART public meetings I've gone to over the past year or so, and these are meetings that have been attended by hundreds of far north Dallas residents, I've only heard 3 people say they want a station there. So why is it on your plan? Apparently because Plano and Richardson want a station at Coit. But Dallas doesn't tell Plano or Richardson where to put stations in their cities, and we would expect the same courtesy in return. A Coit station would only be 1 mile from the proposed UTD station in Richardson if more parking is needed, provided at the UTD station. The Dallas City Council will consider a Cotton Belt resolution at its meeting tomorrow. The resolution lays out conditions to be met in order for Dallas support of this rail line. The conditions cover noise, vibration, visual intrusion, station locations, grade separations, and more. The Council's Mobility and Infrastructure Committee passed this resolution unanimously yesterday, and I am confident that with Mr. Kleinman's support and my support, it will pass tomorrow. Please take that resolution seriously. Far North Dallas residents have expressed huge opposition to this low ridership rail line for many years. If you persist in building it anyway, you need to protect the residents who live along and will be greatly impacted by this project. If you think we have asked for too much in this resolution, we haven't. We've only asked for a level of mitigation and betterments that DART should always be providing in residential areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Grace. The next speaker is Dallas City Council Member Lee Kleinman.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, board members, for serving on DART. We very much appreciate the work and effort you're putting into making sure this regional system serves our community. My colleague, Ms. Grayson, I think stated the biggest concerns that Dallas has, but I want you to always consider context-sensitive development of all your rail lines, which means that when you're close to neighborhoods, you have to protect the neighborhoods. So as you will see or have seen in our resolution, it's very important that not only just the mitigation is required by the feds, but betterments or improvements over and above those minimum standards. So you will see in our resolution, we've asked for some specific things. Ms. Grayson mentioned the grade separations at Coit and Hillcrest without any physical structure being higher than the current grade. We also obviously very interested in the sound walls that you all have agreed to do, as well as the reorganization of some of the stations. Obviously, our resolution supports the Cypress Water Station and the Knoll Trail Station, and want to continue working with you for this regional system. As I mentioned in the past, clearly the regional concept has worked well for Dallas. We have 4 current rail lines going through Dallas, and that was much to the thanks of the input from our suburban neighbors who paid the part as well. So I believe creating this rail line so both the suburban neighbors and the Dallas area is very important. When you consider DART really has a transit desert in North Dallas, and especially far North Dallas, where in my district, Ms. Grayson's district, and Ms. Gates' district, there's only 1 DART rail station for most of North Dallas. So I appreciate you moving this forward, taking into consideration our resolution, make the adjustments to your plan that align our resolution with the plan. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Councilman Kleinman. The next speaker is Ashley Mitchell, the Assistant City Manager representing the town of Addison.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Mitchell. I'm the Deputy City Manager with the town of Addison. Our City Council's meeting tonight, but they've asked me to come share some of their sentiments about the Cotton Belt Rail Line. We first want to express our appreciation to the board for all that you have invested in the Cotton Belt Rail Line. Your dedication to coming together and supporting regional mobility required vision and more than a little courage. Addison feels strongly, as do other cities touched by the Cotton Belt, that your commitment will pay off in a big way to all of the North Texans. So for that, we say thank you. I've had the pleasure of working with your staff closely on the service plan amendments proposed for the Cotton Belt. They've been receptive to our ideas, thoughtful about the impact of the development of our community, and bold in their vision to create a design that would mitigate impacts for our signature Midlake Bridge. Addison is happy to support the service plan amendments that the board will be voting on in June. Although our council residents are not in the audience tonight in their signature yellow t-shirts, they want you to know that they are here in spirit to show their support, not only for the Cotton Belt, but also their belief in the power of regional transportation, which includes the D2 project as well as improved bus service. Addison is an important employment center and entertainment destination for the region, and many people who work in the area and visit our town will be within walking distance of our rail line. The impact of this rail line will no doubt be significant for us as well as to our neighbors to the east and west, but it will also equally impact the entire region, and we stand ready to support you in whatever you can. Thank you so much for keeping your commitment to the regional rail system. Your vision and courage to act in the best interest of the region pay dividends for all Texans, North Texans, for generations to come. We have always supported a win-win approach to the regional rail project, and we believe that your continued commitment to the Cotton Belt project is evidence of your desire to win together. And we look forward to being part of this journey together. Thank you.
The next speaker is Tracy Leach, Assistant City Manager of the City of Capel, representing the City of Capel.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all tonight. My name is Tracy Leach. I'm the Deputy City Manager for the City of Capel. And I am speaking as representative for the City Council of Capel and as for our city, which will be home to just over 5 miles of the 26-mile Cotton Belt line. Back in June of 2017, the Capel City Council unanimously approved a resolution in support of the southern alignment and Cypress Waters station location. I am here today to reaffirm that position and speak in favor of the service plan amendment, which currently includes the southern alignment into the city of Dallas, the Cypress Waters station location, and the proposed grade separations for Sanders Loop and South Beltline Road. Regional mobility is a value that is consistent with Capel's Vision 2030 strategic plan, and the Cotton Belt project furthers this initiative by providing enhanced connectivity across the region to the FW Airport. Further, the city supports transit-oriented development that will likely occur as a result of the Cypress Waters location for the station, as well as the stations that are located throughout the entire line. Capel supports the recommended grade separation at Sanders Loop and specifically at South Beltline Road, which will address the peak time loss of service and queue length, which will be negatively impacted if integration was not undertaken. Finally, the city supports the inclusion of Capel Road, Southwestern Boulevard, East Beltline Road, Mill Road, Mockingbird Lane, MacArthur Boulevard, and Fairway Drive as quiet zones. Doing so would eliminate all moderate and severe noise impacts related to the rail line at these residential crossings. And I know our community is very appreciative of the board's receptiveness to undertaking those improvements. I'm appreciative on a personal level of the cooperation and guidance that the DART staff has provided to us. And we as a community are appreciative of the process that the DART board has provided that has been transparent, that has provided a number of opportunities for communities and stakeholders to have input. And so we thank you for that, and we look forward to working with you as we move forward.
Thank you, Ms. Leach. The next speaker is Dr. Calvin Jameson, followed by Philip Strong.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Thomas, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you. I'm Calvin Jameson. I serve as the Vice President for Administration at the University of Texas at Dallas. Since this is March Madness, we are the 4-time national chess champions. Thank you for this opportunity to appear before this board and to speak a little bit about the service plan amendment that you placed before us. As you know, the university is slated to host a future station along the Cotton Belt, and as we're very much looking forward to the day that service begins. Because over the last decade, UT Dallas has grown and changed significantly. We have added approximately 11.5 million square feet of infrastructure and $1.5 billion in development of the campus in 2007. UT Dallas has nearly 27,000 students. And the new addition to Northside, a transit-oriented development, opens. When it does, we will have nearly 7,200 students living on or near the campus itself. Additionally, the university is one of the top 5 employers in the city of Richardson, with approximately 3,600 employees. So that means there's more than 30,000 individuals concentrated in one area. We need the DART station to have moderate the flow of people and traffic and ingress and egress there. A large number of our students use various modes of public transportation. Through a partnership with DART, all UT Dallas students are offered DART passes and ridership by our students has steadily climbed over the past 4 years, increasing from 700,000 to 1.2 million. Many of these trips take place as a transfer from the city line at Bush Station to our Dallas shuttle buses, another partnership. We started Common Cruises, the buses, station itself, with 2 buses, and it has already grown to 9 buses and 1.5 million riders. This new rail station will also expand our ability to reach and educate new groups of people in North Texas. Many will be looking to become one of the thousands of students hired by the 18 Fortune 500 companies headquartered in Dallas-Fort Worth area, of which all but 3 are located near a rail station. Construction of the Cotton Belt line will improve access to these companies and many others to the high-quality graduates of our university. Our workforce needs skilled workers to take advantage of the companies that are here. So on behalf of our president, Richard Benson, the University of Texas at Dallas, I would like to just convey our institution's full support for the service plan amendment to assist development of the Cotton Belt line, and do it in such a way that is appreciated and a benefit to all included. We look forward to it. We look forward to the design. Thank you so much for all you've done to make it possible for the university to grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jameson. Next speaker is Philip Strong, followed by Bill Spruill.
Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today to speak about the service plan amendment for the Cotton Belt Rail Line project. My name is Philip Strong, and I'm Assistant Vice President for Facility Operations for the State Farm campus located at City Line in Richardson, where we have approximately 8,000 employees, and we're still growing. I'm here today to share with you State Farm's support for the construction of the Cotton Belt Rail Line. And I wish to convey our appreciation for your efforts to move forward with the project. One of the reasons State Farm considered a new corporate campus located at City Line was because of the access to multi-mode transit opportunities. We identified this resource as a unique competitive advantage to help us attract a diverse workforce, many of whom would rather walk, some would ride bikes, or take the train than commute via automobile. And while you'll find professionals at varying stages of their careers that use the current Red Line station, access to the DART system is also especially important to the more junior or the newer employees to attract who would benefit, economically, from having access to DART. That's a very important attribute of the location to us, and by extension, for your effort to continue to attract large employers to Metroplex. As we look forward to the creation of the Cotton Belt line and the interface with the City Line Bush Red Line station, we wish to lend our support to the service plan amendment and the City of Richardson's desire for hike and bike trails with the rail corridor. Improvements like this, they do much to create a sense of cooperation and goodwill, and it goes a long way to showcasing DART as a good neighbor, as we like to say in Texas. These infrastructure improvements and amenities are good for business in general, and it's good for our customers, and it's good for our employees who call or will call Richardson and many other points along the DART system home. We also commend the City of Richardson for its long-term station area planning to host commuter rail stations, and by having zoning in place on vital corridors that are able to host our new home. North Texas is proving to be a vibrant, well-planned, highly productive region that exhibited a business savvy that was built the infrastructure to host Texas-sized projects. We support you as you continue this history and appreciate your consideration and expedite implementation of the commuter rail line for the Cotton Belt line and improve the service amendment plan. Thank you very much for your time today, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Strong. Next speaker is Bill Spruill, followed by Carolyn.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Dark Board, welcome. I was reflecting upon how I would get here today to provide this testimony, and looking at the weather and everything else, I bought a Red Line pass. Thank you for the investment in the Red Line. It was very convenient to do it on Wednesday and make it down here to Garden. So thank you for this opportunity to appear before you today and talk about the service plan amendment to the Continental Line. My name is Bill Spruill. I'm President and CEO of the Richardson Chamber of Commerce. I'm proud to represent one of the largest employment sectors in the North Texas region. We're focused on helping to promote economic prosperity in our community and through all of North Texas. And I'm happy to say, and I don't think it's any surprise, that we're on a roll here in North Texas. And we're recruiting a lot of new employers into the region, like State Farm, Raytheon, Geico, and others. The other thing is we're able to attract a lot of young professionals into our region because of DART service. They have diverse backgrounds and abilities. It provides them the kind of lifestyle that they want in terms of work, live, work, and play environment, and DART provides a lot of connectivity throughout the region which they seek. The Commonwealth Commuter Rail Line is going to enhance these qualities for our region, and we would like to add our voice and ask them to make it the best it can possibly be. First, this includes trail-by-rail features, quality of life amenity. Second, contemporary and complementary station designs. We're going to have a long-term investment in the built environment. We want it to look good. We also support the addition of enhancements where roads meet the rail, to provide grade separations or at-grade signal and intersection improvements that keep traffic flowing smoothly. And finally, we're happy to see planning in place that includes stations at locations that make sense, such as at City Line and UT Dallas, where there's tremendous demand and believe me, will generate a lot of ridership on the Continental Line. It's going to take a unified effort in order for us to reach our maximum potential. And now that we are here, we hope to see a unified voice on the DART board to approve the service plan amendment in June and construct the best possible project that can be achieved. So on behalf of the Richardson Chamber of Commerce, the over 1,000 businesses that I represent and hundreds of thousands of employees in our area, we thank you very much for your investment in our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spruill. Next speaker is Ms. Eden, followed by Jamie Schultz.
First of all, thank you for your service, and a special thanks to those of you who shuffled your busy schedules in order to attend the recent meeting on March 8th at Park Hill Junior High. We really appreciate you being there. If you were there, you did hear one of the very first questions asked as to why would Dallas want to eliminate a Court Road station. Little did I anticipate that night, after I sat with that lady and visited with her, that it was going to trigger a firestorm of contacts to me regarding people who were in opposition to that. Believe it or not, Dallas wants to eliminate the Court Road station, and I'm going to share with you my cheat sheet of reasons I was given by individuals within the area. One is, as already mentioned, it's only 1 mile from there to the UTD station. And given that commuter rail likes to service a longer distance than light rail, people said they had no objection whatsoever in driving 1 extra mile to be able to access the train station and good train service to and from the airport. There were a couple of questions that came up about it depends on to whom you speak, about the ownership of DART's preferred station location in the Coit area. Some people have heard, yes, it's up for sale. Others have heard, no, it's not for sale. I think the best thing we can do to be fair to everybody is say right now it's just questionable of whether it's for sale or not. The alternative sites are really not that good an option for DART or for the residences in the area. Other concerns, those of you who live in that area or have to get up and down Coit Road during congested time frames during rush hour realize that it's really congested. If there's any backup whatsoever, people look for the nearest available escape route. And that happens to be the areas that go through 2 critical schools in that area. One is Plano ISD's Frankfurt Middle School, the other is All Saints Catholic School, which is just due north. Frankfurt Middle School is adjacent to the proposed station. I'm going to cut it short because I don't want to run out of time, but the overwhelming response from people in our area was that they would encourage DART to look for the economies of scale by focusing resources on the UTD station so that adequate security and other measures can be put in, given that long-term parking is something that's attractive to people who have to commute to an airport. So there needs to be additional security and additional parking, because we've all seen what happened at Parker Road Station and at Bush Turnpike, where you cannot park on certain occasions. It just overflows. So thank you for your time, and we hope you'll support Dallas's resolution.
Thank you, Speaker. The next speaker is Jamie Schultz, followed by Phyllis Silver. Is Ms. Schultz here? Is Ms. Silver here? All right.
Hello, my name is Phyllis Silver, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening. As a resident of Addison Circle and a regular DART customer, I am so pleased that we are at this stage of having a public hearing on Cottondale. In Addison, we already have a well-established transit center that has been in place for almost 20 years. I'm excited about the fact that there will be quick and easy accessibility from the bus to the train and vice versa when transferring from one mode to the other. My main concern is the safety of pedestrians and cyclists along Quorum and also along Addison Road, where the Cottondale tracks cross these roads. Due to FAA restrictions in the vicinity of Addison Airport, grade separation will not be an option along these streets that are often busy with pedestrians and cyclists, even during times when we are not having a festival. I trust that you will all devise ways for people to cross the track safely when there's an oncoming train in these areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Silver. The next speaker is Amanda Rockow, followed by Peter St. Charles. Okay. Peter St. Charles, then, are you here? No? Tim Freeney. Is Mr. Freeney here? Followed by David Cardell.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Freeney. I represent an HOA that sits on the current scheduled route for Cottondale. We have 173 homes in our neighborhood. It's about 50 feet from the jail thing. I was really excited to hear representatives from some of the other cities come and speak on their cities' behalf. We are concerned that we're not getting our voices heard as part of the city. So hopefully one of our representatives this year. We certainly have a large issue as it relates to security concerns, as it relates to the effect of our home values, property values. So I encourage you guys, I really hope that you guys are engaging our city to have conversations about the impact, as it relates to traffic safety and security of our community. So with that, I'll give you back your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Freeney. Next speaker is David Cardell, followed by Craig Jensen. Is David Cardell here? Craig Jensen?
Members of the board, Mr. Thomas. My name is Craig Jensen. I'm going to chat briefly about some engineering standards related to the service plan and the project as a whole. I live 12 feet from the edge of my house to the property line of the Cottondale Temporary Investment Subject. I make a living leading a team of engineers with vibration control design. Spent a very long time with the DART team. On that note, Gary, thank you very much for the professionalism that your team showed throughout the project. Regarding vibration for the entire project, I I've asked DOT to modify the vibration design standard from the current 72 VDB goal to a lower 65 VDB goal. I understand this has been proposed to the board for adoption. Some insight might help you on your decisions. Our proposed standard of 65 VDB is considered by both the FTA and the American Acoustic Society to be at the threshold of which people feel vibration. By adopting the standard for the cotton belt, we're agreeing to not vibrate people in their homes. Conversely, the current standard of 72 VDB will be felt by vibrations in homes. Please approve the 65 VDB standard. This will make the community happy and it doesn't cost that much to achieve it. Regarding noise, DOT are currently following some variation of FTA guidelines in DOT's own noise policy document. It's important to note that the FTA noise guidelines are open to pretty wide interpretation by DOT. So the more important of those two documents is actually DOT's own noise policy, which will be approved. Unfortunately, the DOT noise policy is confusing, it's non-specific, and it's contradictory. I'm confident that no one on the board and no one at DOT staff can explain this policy or provide a consistent interpretation of the intended noise impact. Thus, DOT has to hire the consulting engineer who wrote the policy to interpret the policy. There's little accountability or transparency in the process. I suggest your policy be simplified dramatically by establishing train noise will not increase neighborhood noise pollution by more than 3 dBA LN under peak train area. What that means is that over a 24-hour average, the train noise was sum up to more than 3 dB louder than existing. The numbers actually comes from your current policy document. It's reasonable, it's achievable, it can be measured, and it's transparent to everyone. Conversely, I'm very confident that no one in the shore DOT staff would know whether your current policy is being met or not for the completion of this project. I will be able to tell you that. Finally, I ask you to not only adopt these criteria from Commonwealth, which set it as your base policy for all future projects system-wide. A policy document could be developed would provide DOT with the flexibility to address unique construction conditions, which I know will be a concern of DOT. I'm happy to volunteer my time to assist in that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon. The next speaker is Daniel Powell, followed by Sue Robinson. Is Mr. Powell here?
Good evening. Thank you for board members for your efforts and for holding this public hearing and listening to the community's concerns. And also thank you to the DART staff for all of your efforts throughout this process as well. First, I'd like to, my name is Daniel Powell. I live in Far North Dallas. And I'd like to echo Councilmember Grayson's comments and support those comments. I'd also like to support Dallas's forthcoming resolution. The things that interested me most, first of all, I'd like to ask that since we're going to be trading off, hopefully those two stations, we'd like to get more enhanced mitigations, for example. So one thing that the focus group mentioned was having improved tire aggregate throughout the neighborhoods. And that'll help to have a low-cost way to get increased mitigation and having fewer or lower decibel of the 65 decibel amount. Then also, the DART spokesperson at our community meeting said that speed also affects vibration levels. And he said that the speed can sometimes be between 35 and 45 miles an hour. And that's pretty fast, 45 miles an hour going through our neighborhoods. So it would be nice if we could maybe regulate a lower speed, because that'll be a free way to reduce the mitigation impact when it's going through our neighborhoods. And lastly, I did also want to voice support for having a guarantee to prevent any future heavy freight, because all of the materials that have been presented to us at the community meetings have assumed a light rail, and if in the future we ever have heavy freight, the impacts will be tremendous. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Next speaker is Sue Robinson. Is she here? Followed by John Richardson. I don't. Yes, thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Long time not seen that.
Sure is.
All right, back to walk you. Good evening, and thank you very much for letting us speak. Mr. Thomas, members of the board, Ms. Gregson, other councilmen, mayors, etc. Thanks for letting us speak. And I just want to say, some of us will be back in the May timeframe to further address some of these environmental issues that Craig very much focused on. Tonight, looking at the alignment, the grade separation, station location, the facility location decisions, all impact the taxable values of these homes. And I think that's something that we do not need to lose sight of. We've just got 6 homes in our area. Greg is at one end, I'm at the other end. I think my wall is 10 feet off the right of way. But there's a lot of tax base that in our area goes to the city of Dallas, to RISD, and the county. And I think the quality of how these alignments are designed, constructed, and also maintained are very, very critical to looking at the enhancement of possibility, even with the landscaping, with the trails. I'll be very brief, 3 points. Thank you for working closely with the neighborhoods. I know, Steve, some of y'all we work with for, Sandy, how many years? 24 years. Long time, first name basis. This is, I think we are moving very far forward to achieving a positive solution between the homeowners and cars. Most of you know I have always been a supporter of DART if it's done right. And I think we're on the trail to doing it right. Number 2, I ask that the board support the resolution that's going to be passed tomorrow, hopefully by the city of Dallas, because it reinforces the objective definitive parameters, those specified by Mr. Jensen. And number 3, we now have goals that are objective, factual, and measurable, not subjective or comparative. That's really key. Bottom line, thank you for what you're doing, your thoughtful attention to all these issues. We'll be back. Remember, from our viewpoint, mitigation is maintaining the current ambient condition in these residential areas. Betterment is improving that condition, which can include grade separations underneath Hillcrest and Coit. I too am supportive of the advocacy of the stations because the folks just aren't going to use them. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense at either end, at UTD and NAS. Thank you all very much. We appreciate your efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. The next speaker is Marcos Fernandez, followed by Thomas Rochette.
Thank you for this opportunity to address this important regional mobility project, and a project that will also improve the mobility for Carrollton citizens. I'm Marcos Fernandez, Engineering Department, City of Carrollton. Carrollton supports mitigation of impacts on adjacent properties from the Cotton Belt corridor. This includes traffic, wide zones, sound walls, and other effective measures. Carrollton supports the existing land use zoning adjacent to the Cotton Belt corridor, which precludes the development of an equipment maintenance facility or EMF anywhere inside the city. Carrollton supports the relocation of Mercer Yard to a location further east. Carrollton supports the implementation of hike and bike trails adjacent to the Cotton Belt, including the Hutton Branch Trail and the downtown trail approximately along Broadway Street. Carrollton supports the implementation of Cotton Belt corridor station next to our downtown Carrollton station with adequate horizontal and vertical connections, with adequate shelter from inclement weather, with adequate parking supply, and accessibility to the hike and bike trails. And finally, Carrollton supports the anticipated DART service plan amendment for the Cotton Belt Regional Rail corridor from the Green Line in Carrollton further west to Dallas Fort Worth Airport and to its length, obviously up to plan. Thank you for your efforts, both to the DART board and staff on this project.
Thank you, Mr. Fernandez. The next speaker is Thomas Rochette. followed by Richard Griffith.
Thank you to the DART board staff. My name is Tommy Roshak. I'm a surgeon in far north Dallas. My family moved to Hillcrest and Campbell area in 1983. At the time, Central Expressway was 2 lanes each way. There was no George Bush Turnpike. There was a lot of fields. I went off to school, public schools, Brentfield, Park Hill, Pierce. Went away to college and med school. Went away for a while, and now I've moved back into the area. I had 2 kids, and I have a young family. My front yard is on Cotton Belt, so I'm very much affected by this situation. We appreciate the staff, all of the data that's been given, our access and the focus groups and planning, Ms. Grayson, Mr. Kleinman, for introducing a resolution which basically summarizes what we all feel is the best way to codify and quantify what we feel are good betterments for the rail line. I want to just impress upon you, many people in my age category, young families, are moving back into this area between Coit and Preston areas and Richardson and Carrollton, and you've got a lot of young families and a lot of young children who need safety, trails, vibration mitigation, sound mitigation. In addition, also, maintenance, and we want all this to be codified and quantified in the design phase now, so that we can have a wonderful Cotton Belt corridor, so that we can all enjoy it. So I implore you to very much consider all the homes that are along this line, especially in Dallas and of course Carrollton and Richardson, and understand how important this is for us, for our children, and how we all basically support this. In addition, the resolution from the City of Dallas forthcoming basically summarizes everything that many hours have been spent to basically draft. So thank you again for all of your efforts. We appreciate you very much. It's wonderful to be back living in far north Dallas and to have this opportunity to speak before you, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Dr. Roshak. Next speaker is Richard Griffith. Not here. Followed by, the next speaker then is Rick Gover, Gover. Okay. The next speaker after Mr. Gover is Frank Morris.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, resident of Chalfont Place. We are a community of about 95 homes. About 25 are immediately adjacent to the Cotton Belt. And of course, we're very interested in the mitigation factors which will be put forth in the City of Dallas resolution. We appreciate the efforts of Councilman Kleinman and Grayson. I'm sorry, Sandy Grayson. They've been very helpful through this process, as has your DART staff. We are located on the west side of Preston between Arapahoe and Davenport. And if you've traveled on Preston for any length of time, you know how congested Preston Road is. We oppose the Preston Station. Frankly, don't know why it's even in the plan. I know it's been in there for a long time. We have trouble exiting our neighborhood, making a left to go north or to the right to go south, and I can only imagine the increased congestion that's going to occur if there is an additional station at Preston. The proposed location is also very close to a school, the Fairview School, and there's got to be some safety problems there. I've attended countless focus groups for North Dallas, and we've discussed the Preston Station just about every time. I cannot remember anyone voicing any support for the Preston Road Station, and I would ask that it be removed. I would note that the Knoll Trail Station is less than a mile than the proposed Preston station. I really don't know why it's even in there, and I would certainly hope that it be omitted from your plan. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gober. Frank Morris? Is Mr. Morris here? Thank you. Following Mr. Morris is Christopher White.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. My focus tonight is very focused. I'm interested in the noise barriers behind my house. My house runs parallel to, I live on Duffield, and the railroad runs right between my house and parallel with Campbell. And I noticed that on your plans that you presented on November in 2017, you showed a noise barrier on the Campbell side of the railroad, but no noise barrier on the creek side of the railroad. And I think that's if you could extend that noise barrier all around past Duffield, there would be a lot of homes that would not be impacted by the noise. I suspect that the noise barrier on one side is going to act as a reflector. This noise is going to come off of that barrier, going to come down the hill and hit the creek, and it's a perfect reflector right back up into our homes. So if you don't put a noise barrier on both sides, the noise barrier on one side very likely will make my situation worse. And all the people along Duffield will probably appreciate having a noise barrier on both sides of the railroad. That's really what I'm interested in. Just extend that noise barrier all the way along Duffield and possibly other neighborhoods too, but I can only speak for the neighborhood that I'm from. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Next speaker is Christopher White, followed by Dave Brady.
Good evening. First, I want to voice my support for the resolution City Councilwoman Grace mentioned. She's been tireless in trying to speak for us, the residents of North Dallas, and I am thankful. While I'm a supporter of mass transit, I'm not a supporter of the Cotton Belt extension beyond the city of Addison. The adjacency to people's homes, my home, for two rail lines is troubling. My question, and what I really want to get on the record is, the project has three key areas of expenditure: the building and its related mitigation, which are required, and betterments. I want to know what percent of the current budget is allocated to betterments. The dollar shift in the proposed resolution should be additive to this, and I would not like to learn at a later time that design changes have forced a decrease in the betterments funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave Brady, followed by, Fred Kenneth.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing I must say is please don't mess with the mobility management budget in any way to provide betterments along the Cotton Belt corridor. Now, most of the folks in this room are fully aware of many of my thoughts and beliefs on the Cotton Belt alignment and the support for it over many years. If anyone has any questions on it, I'll take you to lunch and fill you in. But most of all, you've got to come together with a solid yes vote tonight and move forward. You've heard a lot of information about what the ridership capabilities are. The growth of ridership along the Cotton Belt alignment is significant and even greater than ever anticipated by the hard work of Dr. Dan Monahan, Ray Noah, and Don Raines in the days to make it part of DART. Thinking about the ridership first about every portion of what you do in the corridor. At the stations, the transfer points, make sure that they have good, smooth flow for the trip. Because that single trip is your most important product. And you need to stick with it. And you need to fulfill the promise of building the east-west link of the Cotton Belt that the cities on the northern sector of the service area anticipated years ago. Thanks for all the efforts you put forward to come to this point today. But don't forget what the riders need the most on the trips. Smooth, easy movement from vehicles of all kinds to the train and to the connections of the entire region. It's not just a trip to the airport. It's a trip for thousands of employees to the new employment hubs that have developed and are even growing greater to the north. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. The next speaker is Fred Kennett, followed by Andrew Wright.
Hello, I'd like, number one, thank you for your time. My name is Fred Kenner. I live in Sandy Grayson's district as well, and I live in that 3-mile neighborhood serving Park Hill Junior High, Brentfield, and Fairhill. With so many schools involved in this neighborhood, you can imagine how many children that we have that play in and around these tracks. I certainly hope that DART will take this mitigation seriously in this area, as some of these houses are within 30 feet of the rail. That is on one side of the track. And on the other side of the track, the DART representative that I spoke with at Park Hill meeting last meeting said they were planning on building a wall on that side of the track, but the other side of the track, they weren't quite sure what they were going to do. And I'm not sure that the representative knew that the other side of that track, the grade level, is 25 feet higher than the homes on that side of the wall. In fact, my neighbor was speaking earlier, the one who said he lived on Duffield. I also live on Duffield, so we're speaking about that same neighborhood. And all the houses on that one side of Duffield, the houses are within 25 feet lower than the rail. So if a wall was built on one side, that sound would certainly bounce off that wall back over onto the other side. And again, I'm not a sound engineer, but I would think that if you measured that decibel level, it would be above the recommended level. So what I wanted to say really was, I hope that, DART takes this mitigation seriously in that 3-mile radius that we live in. And I certainly appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Andy Wright, followed by Andrew Moss. Is Mr. Wright here? Okay. Next speaker is Andrew Moss. Mr. Moss?
Yes, ma'am.
On your card, it says you're here to speak about the police department.
That's correct.
This is only a public hearing about the Cotton Belt.
Yes, ma'am. I can wait till the end.
Okay, I'll call you as soon as we get to the public comment. Thank you, I appreciate it. The next speaker is Peter Lacody, followed by Jonathan Benson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Thomas. Excuse me, I'm still getting over the whole thing. I'm here to speak for the record for Texas Rail Advocates. I serve as president for a Dallas-based organization that supports freight and passenger train development here in Texas, and also is chairman of Rail Passengers Association. This is a national organization of 28,000 members that ride trains and would like to ride the Cotton Belt. I'm also here to show our favor for the service plan amendment, and thank goodness for the Cotton Belt. Over a decade ago, in the city of Coppell, where I used to live before I moved to the city of Dallas, I served on their regional transportation task force. And one of the things we did in Coppell was study the Cotton Belt and why we would need to be in it. Well, unfortunately, we didn't have a penny to put into DART at that time. We didn't even have half a cent. I'm so glad to see the city of Coppell has moved up and is being very helpful at this point. A couple of comments I'd like to make in regards to seamless connectivity. I'm glad to see in the service plan amendment that you're looking to work with DCTA and the A-Train at the downtown Carrollton station. What some of you may not realize is that station is going to be a mega station in the future. You're going to have the Red Line, you're going to have the Cotton Belt, you're going to have DCTA eventually as well. That's going to be one of the largest commuter hubs in the country. You may not realize it, but someday that's going to happen. Number two, so glad to see that you're utilizing and thinking about using the TRV yard in West Irving for maintenance. I think that's going to be a great cost savings and will help in the future as well. A couple of items that I just wanted to mention briefly for y'all to think about in the future is through service to Fort Worth. If you're going from Plano, let's make sure we can get a one-seat ride all the way through to Fort Worth. There's a lot of people in Fort Worth that will work in North Dallas, a lot of people in North Dallas that want to go to Fort Worth. Let's give them a one-seat ride. Your ridership will skyrocket if you do that. And finally, connectivity. Anytime you have a train that arrives at one of your stations, make sure you have a bus connection within 3 minutes. Ridership is extremely important for connectivity. 3 minutes is your key to use. And just want to say that for every rider that's going to be using the Cotton Belt in the future, that's one less person that's going to be on the road. And for those people that don't like rail, they'll be able to get to their work destination or their place of employment or their school just a little bit faster. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Jonathan Benson, followed by Richard Hurt.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members. My name is Jonathan Benson, 2323 Ross Avenue, Dallas. I want to start out by saying I personally have been a longtime supporter of the DART system. Ms. Bowman may remember me from the mid-'80s when I was involved in the community transportation before the DART being born. So I'm a friend of the system. I think it's done great things for the city and the region as well, all of our area cities. Tonight I'm here representing an entity called the Hildebrand Partnership. It's actually a partnership that is formed by a husband and wife, Wilbur and Lucy Hildebrand, who are from this area. They're now retired, living in Florida. They own the property. It's about 4 acres at the southwest corner of Coit Road and the Cotton Belt alignment. It's currently leased to a business called Adventure Landing, which is a good, successful community-serving business there. For Mr. and Mrs. Hildebrand, this is pretty critical. I mean, this is really their retirement. They would like to hold on to the property, and I'm here tonight to ask you to delete the Coit Road station from the proposal. We are in full support of the Dallas City Council resolution tonight, and I appreciate Councilmember Grayson, Councilmember Kleinman, Commissioner Keaton, and all the neighbors that are here speaking in support of the resolution that will be considered in council tomorrow. Likewise, we are in strong support of that resolution and ask that you all act in accordance with that. I've looked at the briefing materials, and I think that in comparison with the ridership expected from this Coit Road station, that the disruption that would be done to the neighborhood and to my client's property in particular, it just doesn't make sense. So I think it does make sense to delete this station from the proposal. And again, I support the resolution that will be before council tomorrow. Respectfully ask that you all consider that tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Now, is Mr. Hurt here, Richard Hurt? is not here. That's the end of our registered speakers. Is there anyone present? Is there a comment? Sorry, I didn't hear you. Is there anyone present who would like to make a comment about the Cotton Belt during the public hearing? Is there anyone who would like to speak on this issue? Would anyone like to turn in a written comment to be entered into the record this evening? Any comments made after the close of the public hearing will not be part of the record of these proceedings. Since there are no speakers or written comments to be turned in at this time, I would like to thank you for attending the public hearing, which is now officially closed at 8:20 p.m. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to return to our regular agenda now, and you're welcome to stay. But our next item on our agenda is our consent agenda. And the first items, 5, 6, and 7 are from the Administrative Committee. Mayor Stouffer is not here, but we have had a request to move number 5 to an individual consideration, which we will do so at the end of the consent agenda. Ms. Kraus, you're the Vice Chair of Admin. Would you please take those two consent items to the Admin Committee?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Before we take that, can we just, my suggestion would be just take all the consent items instead of dividing by committee, which they came through, other than the item number 5, which I guess you could consider.
We can expedite. With that recommendation, unless anyone cares, then I'll just say that we're going to do items 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 on the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion for those items? I hear a lot of approval. Okay. Is there a lot of seconds also? All right, thank you. All right, having said that, we need to vote on our machine here. All in favor? Yes, and obviously if not, no. We have a unanimous yes on those items. Now we will go down and we will take number 5 individually. Number 5 is the approval of interlocal agreement for participation in Grand Prairie Independent School District 504 program to provide compensation and medical services. This was asked to be voted on individually. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So I initially voted yes on this during our committee of the whole, and after hearing some of the public comments that we had from our employees, I would ask that we pull this matter for a vote today, just because I'm having some misgivings and would like some more employees to know.
Madam Chairperson, I would second that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion. All right, I was consulting with our parliamentarian right here. So I believe we have a motion to defer, and do you wish to defer it back to committee for consideration or committee of the whole?
To committee for consideration.
Back to the committee, the next committee meeting for consideration. All right, we have a motion and a second to defer item number 5 back to the committee for further consideration. All in favor? Admin. Back to the admin committee. Okay. All in favor, vote yes. All opposed, vote no. The motion to defer has passed. We have had 10 yeses and 3 nos. So we will now go back to our regular agenda, which is another item on the administrative committee. It is item number 14, and Ms. Krause, can you take that item, since you're vice chair?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Item number 14 came to the Administrative Committee. It's a request for the approval of an amendment to Rule 5, the Dartboard Rules of Procedure Code of Ethical Conduct, as well as the Dartboard Policy 5.01 Code of Ethical Conduct related to the employment of former Dartboard members, and as amended in the committee as a whole, which is in the blue sheet copy layout. Yes, blue sheet.
Mr. Carlson would like to add something to this.
Members of the board, as Ms. Wallcroft said, before you is amendments to Rule 5 and Board Policy 5.01 as approved by committee of the whole. A clarifying amendment was made as well to Section 9, and that amendment is marked, and the changes are tracked. If you'll note, rather than reading signature of Code of Ethical Conduct, it's included signature now, in the words, a copy of the were inserted, and this was struck. If it just makes it a little more clear, certainly not a substantive amendment, but wanted to make sure that the board knew that you were making that change as well.
Any questions about the changes or anything else related to the policy? Do I have a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
All in favor, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. The motion carries 12-1. Thank you very much. We will now, sorry. Wait for it to clear, I'm sorry. If there are no more comments from the board on any of the items we just passed, then we're going to have the public comments at the end of the meeting. This is the section where people have signed up to speak at the end of the meeting, and I'm going to call your name and have you come forward. I can find your card, my apologies. Sorry, trying to find your card. Having a little technical problem here, the worst possible time, so my apologies to you. Hang on. Oh, I had your card. That's great. No, they weren't. Okay. I tell you what, Mr. Moss, why don't you come up while I locate the rest? Andrew Moss is coming forward, and I'm going to find the rest of the cards.
Good evening. During my February 27th speech before this board, I brought several issues to your attention that I would like to follow up on. I stand before you this evening as the voice of many Dartmouth police officers and fair enforcement officers who are too afraid of adverse employment actions to stand in my place. It has been 628 days today since the 7/7 terrorist attack. Chief Spiller continues to create an unbearable working environment that disregards officer input, disciplines employees who raise officer safety issues, and even retaliates against 7/7 officers who request mental health support. Chief Spiller suggested in a board meeting at the end of last year there would be an officer on every train by the end of March. During that meeting, Board Member Killen, due to deployment approaches like this failing in the past, requested Spiller not create a deployment that doesn't make sense or unduly burdens police department employees simply to satisfy an arbitrary date. Sadly, this is exactly what has been done and is now being openly blamed on the board of directors. We all know this is not true. The new deployment strips officers and fair enforcement officers of a great deal of their personal time and forces officers and FBOs to work several of their weekend off days. It is no secret exhausting police employees to the point they have no energy. Instead of allowing them adequate rest, increases the chance of a negative encounter with the public. If the situation is so desperate, why isn't command staff subject to the mandatory overtime requirements? This patchwork haphazard deployment is only necessary due to Spiller's inability to create an environment where police department employees want to continue their employment. Out of desperation, police department employees have done everything they can to bring these issues to the agency's attention. As I have in a private manner, I have even, on numerous occasions, emailed and verbally brought up concerns to the agency's executive director, Mr. Thomas, only to be told someone would get back to me. But this never occurs. I don't know who in this agency decided the best way to deal with life and death issues was to put them off until they're on the 10 o'clock news. Every day I watch my husband, Jesus Rotana, walk out our front door and head into a police department that is understaffed, under-equipped, and mismanaged to the point of being dangerous, and it leaves me heartbroken. From today forward, I implore the board of directors to take advantage of their oversight role and investigate this and the many other issues affecting the police department. Police officers, fair enforcement officers, and the public are depending on you for their lives and safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moss. The next speaker is Stephanie Schiffer, followed by Gina McCain. Stephanie here? And then Gina McCain.
Good afternoon, board. I'm here Ms. Grayson, or a lot of people here today from her community to speak on the Cotton Belt, and I'm proud of that. There are employees for a lot of people here today to speak on the insurance. And unfortunately, they have to be at work 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, so they had to leave. So the dark employees that are here now, we're standing in agreement to this insurance. I talked to a doctor that spoke up here earlier when he left the building. I wanted to ask him about David Scott White, and he told me out his own mouth is awful. And he wouldn't have it. And that really, broke my heart, because we have to come to work in full body and 110% every morning, every evening, because without us being at 110%, the buses won't run. And I want to be physically fit, mentally fit to come to work. But if I don't have a doctor that can support me and make sure that I'm okay with the insurance, then I'm no good to the community. I'm no good to my employers. I'm no good to DART. That's my main concern, because that doctor really woke me up about the insurance. I pay $250 every month to my doctor, just so that I can be well. And the 504 room, I just don't have enough energy to speak on the 504 road. So I'm just going to let somebody speak on that. It's awful. The doctors, they do what DART tells them to do. This is what doctors told me years ago. We cannot take them off work. They have to go to work, whether it's light duty, whether it's whatever. On their crutches, eyes, gloved out, I don't know. They have to go sit somewhere. And that's just routine for employees to have to come to work like that. And with the sleep apnea, thank the Lord, I don't have sleep apnea, but employees come to me every day about this machine. They have to pay $1,500 a month. $1,500 just to take a test. And then when they take that test, they have to wear a mask so many hours a day. Take away from this sleep so they can't be at work at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's another bad atmosphere that we're dealing with right now with that sleep apnea test. Thank you guys for putting those police officers out there on the field. And Elm Street, I heard that it did work for that one day, but after that, it disappeared. So we still have a problem with Bill and Abbott where the streets are going this way, between the cars standing on the corner, not letting us go to our bus stops. And that's about it. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. McCain. Next speaker is Richard Sheridan, followed by guest in Germany.
Dog board members, I appreciate being here. I'm here to speak about alternatives to increasing the fare, ridership alternatives, incentives to ride DART. There is a handout, whether you got it now, but there is some good information there. There are at least 4 of them, probably more, partnering with Uber, Lyft, a Drive for Excellence program, retail and transit stations, bathrooms and train stations, and the last one, which I didn't put down, extending service hours on Friday and Saturday evenings. So partnering with Uber or Lyft, Metro and Uber Technologies are teaming up on a new program that offers free rides to people who miss their buses. The program called Guaranteed Ride Home offers free Uber rides to Metro's 30-day rolling pass holders. The program works like this: up to 4 times a year, guaranteed ride home participants can call an Uber or Lyft and have their trip reimbursed. Riders submit a reimbursement form to Metro and receive a payment for up to 80% of the ride cost. LA has experienced an 8.6% increase in light rail readership last year. This is according to Andy Brownfield, reporter, Cincinnati Business Courier. The Drive for Excellence program, I spoke about this before about members, the executive getting out, finding out what's going on in the system. It's an established concept in employee-based marketing for public transportation, which applies 10 public transportation principles, many of the management principles discussed by Tom Peters in his book Thriving on Chaos. The DFE program uses teams of frontline employees who are given the responsibility and authority, including budget authority, to implement projects aimed at increasing ridership, implementing at two large agencies, one in Seattle, one in Cincinnati, in Cleveland. To date, the program has been proven successful in increasing ridership. It has also been successful in improving employee morale, fostering interdepartmental cooperation, improving customer relations, and enhancing public relations. And transportation research with the authors. Retail and public train stations. Many transit stations offer opportunities for retail development and generate much needed revenue for transit systems. I'll be brief. There's going on in water system in Atlanta, the Metro in Chicago, and New York's MTA. They're all very successful in bringing in revenue and also, again, it's an attraction to the ridership. Bathrooms and train stations has been an issue with me with some prostrate issues, and I know some bus drivers would like to have some restrooms, particularly I used to live in North Dallas at the Royal Lake Station. Instead of stopping off a quick trip or going to Boston Market, to leave the stress knowing that either end that things will be taken care of. Anyway, appreciate your attention. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Sheridan. Next speaker is Destin Germany, followed by Alex Telecki. Is Mr. Germany? Okay, Ms. Telecki, followed by Mr. Christian.
Briefly, I have 15 copies of a short document that one of our members who couldn't be here tonight, together with help from some, just basically our entire group and some folks from down Leaders at Risk wrote up. I guess articulating what we'd like you all to consider between now and when the fair hike is implemented. So if I could just hand that to you all, because this is too long to actually speak into the microphone. So I don't have my shirt, but I'm here to ask you to reconsider the fare hike as usual. And I also just had one other thing to ask about. Someone had asked me, she uses the 571 Garland to Spring Valley Station bus, and she said, she's not happy that the fares are going up, but if the fares are going up, why have the seats been changed from padded seats to plastic seats, which are uncomfortable? I was just wondering if I could speak to someone who might know if that had been changed on that bus route recently, and if so, why, so I could let her know. Is there someone who would know about that on the staff?
Harold Humphrey, can you raise your hand so she'll know where you are? Okay, you can speak to him. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Christian, followed by Stephanie Shiver if she's joined us. If not,
How you doing, boy? I come to you today asking for one thing, and one thing in particular. I'm asking you to have a listening ear. I'm asking you to have a listening ear. Harry Hoffman's been here less than 6 months, doing a good job. Has a listening ear. Carolyn Wise, been here 5 years plus. Listening ear. Why? Because when the employees are personally affected, they reach out to her, she investigates, and she fixes the problem. So I'm coming to you asking for a listening ear. I hear you want to contract the services out. This isn't a paratransit. We have dedicated drivers that are dedicated to the handicapped passengers. This Uber you have, this Lyft you have, and this taxi cab that you have doesn't work. They're not dedicated to our passengers. So I'm asking you, be considerate and listen to us, because we're coming to you asking for your help. Now, it was mentioned earlier about the 504 program, the workers' comp, the health insurance. And we know that's a negative. But we're asking for a listening ear. We're telling you there's a problem within the system that you incorporate. And it's adversely affecting the employees. Now, last time I checked, and ATU goes all over the world, we're considered in the top 10 in transit industry. Gary Thomas is considered number 1, if not number 2, in the world as CEO. Why? Because of you, the board, the decisions that you make, consistent of the livelihoods of the passengers, the employees, the customers. And the thing that gets me the most is, we don't ask for much. We don't ask you to lie, cheat, or steal for us. We ask you to have a listening ear because we make you look good when you don't. Because we do the things that most people don't do at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. While most people are at home, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, sleep. So I'm not coming to you whining. I'm coming to you because I'm big. Have a listening ear. Because when you have employees out there that can't afford to pay for their medication because of the system that you implemented consisting of ESAs, when somebody out there get into a wreck or somebody out there get into a fatality consisting of a passenger, it's not our fault. Because we're asking for your help. We're asking you to cater to us like we cater to you. And Gary Thomas, we respect you. The board, we respect you. So when these people took away from their families, I got you. When these people took away from their families to be a part of this family, they came here because of one thing, a listening ear. So I'm asking you, have a listening ear. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. The only other card we have is Mr. Day, but Mr. Day joined us at the beginning of the meeting, so thank you. We have no more speakers tonight, no other speakers. So having said that, we will be adjourning the committee of the whole at 8:43 p.m. Thank you all for coming, appreciate it.
Biz William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We love comments. If you don't like the way Dart is handling things, lay it out for everyone to see. If you like or hate this video, tell us. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, tell us. We even love it when you call. Better yet, like or follow us on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube and get instant notices of all our videos the moment they are posted.